finally guys, this is the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and I know what you're thinking, Daniel, we've already seen so many videos of the S10 Plus, you're late to the party again. And I know. Yeah, we are late. Unfortunately, Samsung didn't send over a review unit, so I literally got this on release date, which was this Friday, last Friday, the 8th of March. And I wanted to spend my whole weekend with this, fully testing the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus before giving you guys my actual first impressions, my first 72 plus hour experience with the Galaxy S10 Plus. So get those snacks ready, and oh, that giveaway, the Samsung Galaxy Buds giveaway is still going, by the way, so more details on that at the end of this video. Okay, so there's so many things that I want to talk about in this video about the S10 Plus, my whole experience, and I want to start off with the box. And in terms of the box itself, I was really impressed with the texture. I loved the way it looked, the way it felt. We got this in both black and white, and they both had this really nice gradient on the Samsung Galaxy S10 logo. Now, when it comes to the contents of the box, I was surprised to see that Samsung actually does not include a case with the S10 Plus at all. And this is weird because if you go on their website, there's actually a mention, even a photo of the actual case that's included. There you go, clear case for the S10 Plus. That's listed as one of the contents that you get inside the box. That was really weird. The case is something that I mentioned even in the things you didn't know video, the fact that you do get one, but yeah, there was no case included. And something quite weird is that the booklet itself is really thick. So it looks as if Samsung wanted to include a case, but they actually scrapped it at literally the end of the day before releasing the Galaxy S10. The only thing that you get inside this booklet is the quick start guide, which is just a few pages, so there's a lot of empty space left. Again, looks as if they scrapped this last minute. So yeah, that was an unpleasant discovery, and then my second unpleasant discovery was the screen protector. So you did get one with the S10, but it's not aligned. I mean, take a look at that. It's not even... Yeah, okay, so obviously I took it off immediately, but I do love the amount of accessories that you get inside the box anyway. So you get a fast charger, yes, Apple, you do get a fast charger, you get AKG headphones, you get a USB-C to USB-A adapter, you get a micro USB to USB-C adapter, pretty much anything you can think of aside from, case, you get inside the box of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. And right after I unboxed it, I wanted to try something new. So I wanted to transfer all of my data from my iPhone XS Max directly to a Samsung phone. I've never done this before. Every single time I set them up as a new device or transfer my data usually from my Pixel, which is what I use at the moment. So I tried transferring everything, and the transfer failed. So it was actually telling me that I had no space left on my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, even though this is the 128GB model, and on my iPhone I have about 70GB of used space. So that was odd. So yeah, transferring data failed in this case. So yeah, in the end I did set it up as a new device. So let's talk about my actual first impressions with using this phone. So in terms of the design, wow, this thing looks insane. So the design gets a 12 out of 10 for me. It's the best looking phone I've ever seen. I love the edges, the way they reflect the light, even on the black model. So the one that I'm using at the moment is the Prism Black model. I love this one. This is the 128GB model plus. Obviously you get a microSD card slot, so you can expand that even further if you want to do that. So I absolutely love the design. I love the way it feels in the hand. Yeah, definitely the best looking phone I've ever had, and also the best feeling phone in the hand I've ever had. Now we also got the white one in the house, the Prism White, which looks awesome. To be honest, I still prefer the black one, but the white one can reflect the light in such a nice way. So yeah, if you're into white phones, then this one is a really interesting looking one. Now comparing the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus to my iPhone XS Max, I mean, wow. The S10 Plus looks as if it's about 2 years ahead in terms of the design, especially with that punch hole camera. So I was really impressed to see that it was much smaller than I expected, by the way. The punch hole camera, even though this is the dual one, not a single one that you get with a regular S10. But yeah, it was, if I have to choose between a notch and the punch hole camera, honestly guys, I wouldn't go back to a notch. It's really good. It's much better than I expected. And once you start using the phone for just a few minutes, it goes away, just like the notch does. Obviously, when you're watching video, it's not as intrusive as the notch is. And comparing the S10 Plus to my Note 9, which was my previous Android driver before my Pixel 3, something that I really love about this is that it's thinner and also smaller, which means that I can finally use my Gear VR again. So yes, the Note 9 was too thick and too wide for me to use the Gear VR. I actually had to buy a new model, which I didn't really do in the end. But yeah, I can finally use my Gear VR again. So that's cool. So yeah, that was the design. Great design overall. I love the punch hole camera. What about the actual display? Well, the display is even better, I would say. So I always put Samsung phones on vivid mode because I like seeing those colors pop, because I'm colorblind myself. Haha, that was a joke, not really. But yeah, this display is amazing. The colors are really vibrant. Unfortunately, on iPhones, you cannot really select any color profile. So if you prefer your colors more vibrant, then, you need to get a Samsung phone or an Android phone because you cannot do that on iOS. Now, something that I found really interesting on this display is that even though Samsung rates this at 1200 nits, the brightest display on any smartphone at the moment, in day-to-day use, it's actually dimmer than the iPhone XS Max is, which is really, really odd. So I was like, wait, why? Why is that a case? So what I ended up doing is I went to YouTube and I looked up an HDR video, and apparently if you watch HDR videos, then the brightness actually goes over 1000 nits, which is needed for HDR10, and in that case, it's significantly brighter than the iPhone XS Max is. There we go. This is how you get the true brightness of the display. You need to be watching an HDR video. Also, if you're coming from an iPhone XS Max, yes, you can finally watch YouTube in an even higher quality than you could on iOS, because iOS is limited to 1080p video, even on YouTube, even on the iPhone XS Max, whereas on this one, you can watch Quad HD. How cool is that? So yeah, even higher quality for YouTube videos on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. But something that I don't really like when it comes to the display is the fact that you have to double tap to wake, and I get why this is a thing, because you don't want it to accidentally, activate in your pocket or whatever. But I don't know, I just miss the fact that on iOS you can just, tap to wake a single time on the iPad Pro 2018, on the iPhone XS, 10 and XS Max and 10R. So yeah, I really, really miss that. But you have that always on display, which Apple never adds for whatever reason. So there's so many features in this phone that are awesome. Speaking of awesome features, not a sponsor, unfortunately, but a camera. The camera is amazing on this. So I absolutely love the new wide-angle lens. The cameras themselves are pretty much the same as on the Note 9 and the S9, obviously with the exception of that wide-angle lens that I mentioned before. And that one is incredible. You can capture so much in the shot. I mean, take a look at this. Telephoto versus normal versus wide angle. How insane is that? Yeah, we've actually taken all the camera comparison shots yesterday. We got a bit of sun because, yeah, it's the weather here in the UK has been awful. Pretty much rainy all day, every day. And it's looking the same for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, we got a bit of sun yesterday, so we took all the shots yesterday. So definitely subscribe and notifications if you want to see those camera comparisons as soon as they come out. They should be coming out starting tomorrow. So definitely stay tuned for those. Now, there's a few things that I want to mention in terms of the camera. So having 4K video on the front, that's amazing. This is one of the only, as far as I'm aware, the only phone actually that can do 4K video with a front-facing camera, the actual front-facing camera, not a flippable one. So that's amazing. Also, there's no more recording limit. Finally, Samsung, there was always, if you wanted to do 4K 60 video on a Samsung phone, you had a 5-minute recording limit, which was crazy considering that Samsung promotes, SD cards on these, which is crazy. And then if you wanted to do 4K 30, you had a 10-minute recording limit. On this one, the limit is finally gone. However, there's a few weird things that I want to mention. So if you go into Pro mode, which is Samsung's manual mode, that's in the first-party camera app, that's awesome that it's included there. But for some reason, you cannot switch lenses. Why? I don't know. So in manual mode, you can only use the main lens, not the zoom one or the wide angle module, which is really, really odd. Also, what's even weirder is the fact that you cannot record 4K 60 video with a wide angle lens. Again, I'm not sure why, but if you want to do video with a wide angle lens, you have to switch to 4K 30. You cannot do 4K 60 for whatever reason. My only guess here is that on the wide angle lens, you know how there's no optical image stabilization, so the shots would have been really, really shaky, the 4K 60 video. However, in 4K 30, Samsung can actually post-process that image and give you a bit of post-processing stabilization, which is, I believe, what they're doing and the reason why they're limiting this to just 4K 30. That's just my guess. Also, something interesting to point out is that you cannot use the flash with the wide-angle lens at all. It's disabled, literally. So again, I'm guessing that this is one of those situations where, the flash would be captured by the wide-angle lens, but still, Samsung could still have it enabled for those of us who really want to use it, regardless of the negative effects, so to say. Something interesting that I found was that the notification LED has been removed entirely, which, to be honest, if you have an always-on display, you don't really care about that, but, some people do. So let me know in the comments if you will miss the notification LED on the S10. Also, something that you probably won't miss is the Bixby button because it's still here, but it's now remappable, which is awesome. So you can now remap it to any other app that you want. The only exception is obviously Google Assistant. So you need to map it to an actual app, not an assistant. However, apparently there's a Google Assistant APK that you can download and then you can map it to that app and then, it would actually work. So that's a workaround apparently. The Force Touch home button has indeed been removed, so there's no haptic feedback when you press the home button. Also, when it comes to the vibration motor, it has been improved from the Note 9 and the S9. It's almost as good as the one on the Pixel 3. Which is pretty good. So typing on this is a really nice experience. Okay, Daniel, but what about the built-in in-display fingerprint reader? Well, it's pretty good. So yeah, it's pretty good. Essentially, when I first set it up, it used to work about 6 out of 10 times, so it was pretty much a hit and miss. But Samsung actually released an update, and now it works about 8 out of 10 times. So it's very similar to Face ID in this regard, but then, you have those cases in which, let's say you're just out of the shower and your fingers or your fingerprints are all crumbled and creased up, so to say. So yeah, in that case, it won't really work, whereas Face ID would work in that situation. So yeah, when it comes to the speed, it is faster than Face ID though. So if you care about speed, the in-display fingerprint reader is faster. But you do have to touch in a very, very specific area of the display, so it doesn't really work on all the bottom section, or not even to mention all the display. So it's a very, very specific section that you have to touch, so it would take some time getting used to, especially if the display is off. Then also something quite interesting that I found is that One UI, even though this runs on One UI, I mean it runs on Android 9, but it has Samsung's One UI skin on top of it, and the Note 9 recently got updated as well, and the S9, it's actually a bit different than the Note 9, for example. So there's a few menu changes, a few small changes here and there, so it's not identical to the one on the Note 9. So if you have a Note 9, it's not really the same, it's like 95% the same. Okay, so now I want to talk about the things that I didn't like about the S10. First of all, accidental touch rejection. It's actually worse than on the Note 9. So on the Note 9, I actually said this in the full review, the fact that finally accidental touch rejection is no longer an issue for me with the Note 9, because Samsung has made the corners not as, curved as on the S9. So yeah, the Note 9 was a really good experience, but this is a step backwards in terms of that. So I've had so many accidental touch rejection issues with this, where my fingers would just, touch the edges and random stuff would happen on the display. There are a few workarounds for that, which I'm currently testing, so I'll mention those in the full in-depth review, which is coming out in a few months, because I really want to spend my time with this and give you guys a full, honest, and, a proper in-depth review. So definitely subscribe, stay tuned for that. Something else that I want to mention are the animations. So they're quick, but sometimes they lag. So there is a bit of lag here and there, so yeah, it's not as fluid as, let's say, a Pixel 3 XL, if you care about that. But honestly, my only big complaint with the S10 is in terms of scrolling. So scrolling is done very differently on iOS versus Android. I do prefer the way iOS handles scrolling and touch input. For example, there's many cases where I swipe to the side to open up a menu on iOS and on Android, and on iOS it works perfectly, whereas on Android, well, not so much. However, if you compare the Pixel 3 XL, for example, with the iPhone XS Max, they're almost as good in terms of touch input and scrolling and everything, so that's great in terms of the Pixel. But if you compare the Pixel to the S10 Plus, there's a huge difference between the two, mostly because of the curved edges that the S10 Plus has, which again, they're even more curved than the Note 9, which means that if you use apps that have a slidable menu on the left, for example, like BBC News, Creator Studio, the Play Store, apps like that, well, you're going to have a hard time opening that menu on the S10 Plus. So I really, really don't like that. Again, it's not an issue on the Pixel 3 XL, and, it's almost as good as on iOS on the Pixel 3 XL, but it's a pretty big issue on the S10 Plus, at least for me. So yeah, in terms of the fluidity and, experiences like that, it's not as good as the Pixel 3 XL, or not even to mention iOS, which is the king of touch inputs and gestures. So yeah, having said that, honestly, I still think that it's a great device, and overall, it is the best phone and the best smartphone that you can get right now, considering the amount of features that you get with this thing. Reverse wireless charging, which is amazing. You can charge an iPhone. I can charge my XS Max from the back of this phone. You get a massive 4100 mAh battery, and then you also have the DeX mode, which is probably the best feature on this phone ever, and not a lot of people talk about it. So essentially, you just connect this with a USB Type-C cable to a monitor, or any USB Type-C dock, and then connect that through HDMI to a monitor. Then you attach a keyboard and a mouse wirelessly, and you turn this into a desktop-like computer. So you have a browser, a full browser of Chrome. You can use Office, the full apps, and that's amazing. I can see a lot of people using the S10 in that way. People that don't really need a proper desktop computer at home. You can just go get home from work and then connect this to a monitor, and boom, you have a desktop computer at home from your smartphone. And this is the only phone, Samsung phones from the S8. The S8, the Note 8 actually need a specific dock, but with the S9 and the Note 9 and the S10, you can just plug it into a monitor directly, and yeah, you can activate DeX mode from there. But yeah, there you go. This was my 72-hour experience and my thoughts on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Definitely subscribe and notifications if you want to see more videos of the S10 Plus. There's a lot of content coming. The camera comparisons, those really detailed ones with over 20 individual tests, categories actually, and even more tests for each of them. So yeah, do expect that, speed tests, and then finally my full in-depth review a few months down the line once, I properly test this. This is now my daily driver, by the way. It's replaced my iPhone XS Max, and my iPhone XS Max is my secondary, and then, the wheel might turn depending on how good this is. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the S10 Plus. Also, don't forget about the giveaway, which is still going, the Samsung Galaxy Buds giveaway. So all you have to do in order to enter that is be a subscriber of the channel and then follow on Instagram at Zone of Tech, and then simply leave a comment on this post, the post with the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus and the S10e, the render, this pink one here, saying why would you want to win the Samsung Galaxy Buds, and I'll be announcing the winner directly via DM on Instagram, and I'll probably post a story as well. On April the 1st. Not a joke, but yeah, that's literally when the giveaway ends. But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been pretty much it in terms of the S10 Plus. Really enjoying it so far. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.